Hello everyone, Mipa here, trying to make your Monday a little better and maybe even something to look forward to. We are here with My Dreams, Vanda's Nightmare, episode 4. I don't have much to say beforehand, so I hope you enjoy episode 4 of MDBN. Once Anya finally let her go, Vanda was sent to an orphanage. This orphanage was called Sunny Futures. She was meant to live here until she was old enough to live on her own, since Vanda refused to be given to another family. She didn't want to just put another family in danger and have to leave them too, as she'd heard so much about her tragic backstory from all of the other kids. So Anya spent the whole week setting up a place for her at Sunny Futures, where Vanda would be happier, start over her life, and not have to be reminded of the old life she had and that everyone remembered but her. Once she got settled in, Vanda managed to do what she always did. She made friends. Everyone got along with her and enjoyed being around her. She always seemed to have that effect on people. They would run around and have fun together. She considered them all her friends. Some she'd even consider her best friends, now that she'd lost the very few she had before. But the moment she'd declare one her best friend, they'd be adopted within the week. She didn't think much of it at first. It was to be expected. She was at an orphanage after all. It was great that her friends were getting families. Although it happened every time, and it made sense for her to get the feeling that this wasn't right. Vanda chose to express her concerns to the adult that cared for her at Sunny Futures. He went by Kay. Here, Kay seemed to be the only one that genuinely cared about Vanda. There were her best friends, but they only lasted for so long, it seemed. She asked Kay about it, and he said it just happens. There wasn't much to do about it, and she just think about the fact that now they were happy with their new families. Vanda couldn't think of anything else to do but agree, so she had nodded to him and they went to bed. Kay tried to reassure her she would enjoy her time here, but he could only do so much to help her. In the following days, Vanda chose to just not get attached to anyone. It'd be easier on her that way. So she didn't interact with many of the other kids, and if she did, she still tried her best to be nice and considered them a friend, but any more than that made it more difficult when they got adopted and she was left again. But eventually, it seemed like no one was getting adopted anymore, so the kids were there longer, and some managed to make it to best friend. But then, like the others, they were adopted within the week, and the cycle began again. One day, Kay found Vanda with tears in her eyes on her bed, alone in the giant room of beds. She wasn't exactly crying, but there were tears. Kay tried to comfort her and give her a hug and a shoulder to cry on, but Vanda refused. She kept scooting away from him, so Kay took the message and sat on the other end of the bed. He tried to ask her what was wrong, but got no reply. So he asked why she wouldn't acknowledge him, and she told him that they'd take him away too. He was the only one that ever cared about her and didn't get taken away, but now she felt that if she accepted his care, he'd be gone soon too. She couldn't have love or be cared about. Clearly that's what the world was trying to tell her by taking everyone away. So she told him to leave because one way or another, he wouldn't get to be near her anyway. But Kay didn't leave. He scooched closer and tried to talk quietly as he explained. He said he had an explanation and a confession to make. Sunny Futures wasn't a real orphanage for kids to get adopted from. It was all set up by Anya. She rented out the building to be set up for Vanda to live in, where they could still test and observe her. All the kids were actors, pretending to be her friends. The reason they kept getting adopted was because Anya didn't trust Vanda enough to actually have a best friend, or didn't trust the kid not to actually get attached to her. Vanda didn't know how to take this. She felt shocked and betrayed. Anya had let her go, but apparently not far. Vanda started crying as she hadn't let herself do that in a while. Kay nodded sadly at her reaction and let her get some of it out before hurrying on. He comforted her enough so she quieted down and gave her the plan. She needed to leave and pack up the few things she had. He'd give her some money, but from there she needed to figure it out on her own. She couldn't stay here. Vanda did as she was told and shoved some of her belongings and the money in her backpack and started to leave. But she stopped and turned to ask Kay why he had told her and why he was letting her go. Anya took away your friends so they wouldn't get attached to you, but she didn't plan for me. I care about you, and I know this is the best option for you. Vanda was surprised by the message, but recovered enough to run to him and give him one more hug before she made her escape. And that, my friends, is where this episode is ending off. Honestly, I didn't even realize how sad this one was. In between every single recording I needed to do, I actually was freaking out about how sad I made this, because I didn't realize while I was writing it down. But this is how it is, and I hope that you still like it. Episode 5 shouldn't be too far away. It is in the works. So is Shadows and Mirrors. Everything is coming together. I have a lot of plans. So thank you to everyone for sticking around and subscribing and watching my videos. I greatly appreciate it. But until next time, have a great week, everyone.